Women need to eat about 1200 calories and men about 1800 calories, right? That's the way to lose weight. Wait, what? Who came up with this? Why is it 1200 for women? I'm 5'11", I work out almost daily, I love putting on muscle, and that's my goal. So you're telling me that someone who's 5'2", has never worked out, and has no interest in putting on the muscle also needs to be eating 1200 calories? Obviously, these numbers are ridiculous. I don't know where these numbers originated, but I have so many women come to me with that number in particular, and they're told they need to eat 1200 calories a day, and that's the calorie restriction they should go on in order to lose weight. So they start calculating calories and they start losing some weight, but then they plateau and they gain the weight back. So today I want to talk about why counting calories doesn't work and why you don't need to do that to actually lose weight. Now, I can already see people coming at me with, hey, that worked for me, calorie counting worked for me, I dropped 50, I dropped 15, I dropped 100 pounds. And I'll be honest, there's only a few people that I've ever met that this worked for long term. Now, the key here is long term. If you're used to eating 3000 calories a day and now you're restricting to the magical 1200 calories, you will initially lose some weight, but then you will gain the weight back. So I'm not talking about once a year or once every 2 years you're having to count your calories to drop the weight that you gain in the meantime. I'm talking about how to actually lose weight so you never have to worry about calories or food restriction or feeling deprived ever again. And the few people that I said that it did work for, it didn't happen by counting calories alone. In order for weight loss to work long term, you have to change your relationship with you. You have to change your relationship with food. You have to work on getting away from addiction to food. For as long as you're addicted to certain foods and sugars, you're not going to have success long term. So again, if it worked for someone long term, they didn't just count calories. They used that to open their eyes to what they're eating and where they're at, but they also started changing their relationship with food and started focusing on health rather than just weight loss. Because when you focus on health, you're making different choices. I'll give you my own example. When I was competing in bodybuilding, we had to count calories. We even had to measure food. And yes, I dropped the body fat. I looked fantastic. I had a six-pack. But afterwards, I gained over 45 pounds within like 2 months, and I developed a binging disorder. This is all due to restriction. The second example I'm going to give you before we get into content is a lady that came to me after being on Weight Watchers. So on Weight Watchers, you count them as points. It's calories, but you don't count them as calories, you count them as points. What she did is she would eat in a chocolate cake all her points and then eat lettuce for the rest of the day. I mean, that's really damaging your relationship with food, right? But let me first introduce myself. If we haven't met yet, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Lex. I've been in health and fitness industry for over 20 years now. Like I mentioned, I've done amateur bodybuilding, I've done amateur boxing and kickboxing. I've damaged my body quite a few times. I had hypothyroidism, I've gained weight, and then I sorted all of it out holistically. And all the things I've learned, I've shared with my clients who I help get healthier and lose weight in a healthy, sustainable way. And I share with you on this channel. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and the little notification so you get notified whenever the new video comes out and you don't miss any content. Because my goal is for you to feel like you're at the 10 daily. My goal is for you to love yourself and love your body and enjoy the health long term. Okay, let's talk about counting calories. I know that this is very controversial. I know that, but I also know that there's a lot of overweight and obese people who are suffering because of this false information. So in this video, I want to break down all you need to know about calories so you can fully understand how calories work, what they are, and what to do instead of obsessively counting calories to lose weight long term. First, we need to address a few things that have nothing to do with how much you're eating. You could be eating nothing and still not losing weight. These 5 things affect your body in such a way that it will not release body fat. It doesn't matter what kind of calories or how much you're eating. The first thing we need to address is hormones. If your hormones are out of whack, you are not going to be losing a pound. You could go on a no-eat fast and still not lose weight. That's how powerful hormones are. And this is where most people end up feeling frustrated because they are dieting or not eating or making all these changes and the body's not releasing body fat, and then the frustration comes and they give up. not knowing ever that it really has to do with hormonal balance rather than calorie counting. The second thing we need to address is stress. When we are stressed out, we have high cortisol. When we have high cortisol, it's telling the body it's under attack. And it's not the time to relax. It's not the time to release body fat. High cortisol levels drop your estrogen levels, and that messes up your hormones further because low estrogen keeps your progesterone low as well, because they have this little balancing dance as well. So when your cortisol is high, your estrogen gets low. By the way, estrogen is a natural antidepressant. It loves fasting, so it's easier to fast when you have the proper amount of estrogen, and so on. So just by lowering your cortisol, you will start balancing your estrogen level to where it's supposed to be. The third thing that I want to address is sleep quality. If you're not getting proper sleep on a regular basis, that's already equal to high stress to your body. Now, what also happens is your body's going to be hungrier more because it's asking you to give it energy from somewhere. And so what it's doing is making you hungrier, and typically hungrier for sugar, because it needs energy from somewhere quick, but also because your brain is tired and it doesn't want to make decisions that are good for you long term. It just wants short-term dopamine hit to feel better. The next thing I want to address is your metabolism. See, when you start eating less, your body starts burning less calories. So what happens is people restrict their calories, they're starting to lose weight, then they plateau. That means they have to restrict their calories even more in order to start losing weight again. So essentially, you're slowing down your metabolism when you restrict your calories. Now, if you do this drastically, like I had to do when I was bodybuilding, your body goes in survival mode, and once again, it will screw up its hormones and it will not let you drop the weight. And the fifth thing that we need to address is safety. If you don't feel safe in your body or in your environment, your body is on high alert, your brain is on high alert, it's thinking that it's under attack and it's not going to release body fat. And also, this can refer to people who have had traumatic events happen either in childhood or earlier on, where the central nervous system was never stabilized and they're still in survival mode. But this can also be because you may be in a really crappy job where you're really stressed out all the time, or you're in a stressful relationship. I had a client who was in a relationship with a narcissistic partner, and she was so stressed out all the time that there was no way her body was going to release body fat because it was under attack. And it had to do what it had to do to protect itself, not to change things for the better. Now, this is just 5 things. We didn't even talk about medication or any underlying medical issues or anything else. There are many other things we could add to this list, but I just wanted to give you food for thought to understand how it's not as simple as math, calories in versus calories out. There are so many other factors that influence our body and how it's going to react to a calorie restriction. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about what calories actually represent. What are they? So we eat the foods that give us energy. This is how we move. This is how we think. This is how we function. This is how the body uses all those calories to get all the bodily functions done in the body. This is how we create things. We have to have energy that we bring into our body. So calories are energy. They are measures of how much energy you are getting from the food. And this is where we have problems. See, all energy essentially comes from the sun. If you remember the first law of thermodynamics, it states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can simply transform from one form to the other. So the energy gets converted from the sun into the plants. That process is called photosynthesis. And then animals eat those plants, we eat animal meat, or we eat those plants as well, which then converts that energy for us to use. That's how it's supposed to be. Also, think about this. The kind of food that we're talking about, the real food, veggies, fruits, eggs, meat, and so on, have been around before us humans. It's only in the last 100 years that we started implementing more and more and more processed foods. So what happens when we eat this processed food? Well, nothing good, really. The body doesn't even recognize it as real food while it's processing it because it's forced to process it. So it creates inflammation right away, trying to fight the foreign substances because it doesn't recognize it as the energy from the sun. Now, we can get the temporary energy from sugar, which is really getting high from sugar. It doesn't give us the energy that we're supposed to have for proper healing and proper functioning. But again, if it's not natural, it raises inflammation in the body as well. So again, when you're counting calories, you're supposed to count how much energy you're getting from that food. But you see how it's really not the same when you're eating processed foods and non-processed foods. It's not about counting calories. It's about choosing healthier things that are also yummy. See, we have to enjoy our food. If we don't enjoy our food, it won't work. And this is why diets and drastic changes don't work, because you didn't allow your taste buds enough time to adapt and start tasting the real food once again. Processed foods is designed in such a way that you never stop eating it, that it hijacks your taste buds so you don't really taste the real food, and they put so much sugar in it that you're constantly craving foods with more and more sugar. Therefore, things like a watermelon don't satisfy you anymore. By the way, if you need more ideas on healthy, yummy recipes, including dinners, dips, or desserts, you may want to check out my recipe book. I'll leave the link in the description. All the recipes are yummy, they're kid approved, and they're really easy to make. Now, let's also talk about how much real food we eat versus processed foods. I already mentioned that processed food is designed to make us not to stop eating it. Where when you look at real food, let's take a watermelon, for example. The whole watermelon is about 1,000 calories. But you can never eat the whole watermelon all at once. You take a few pieces and you're like, I can't. I want to, but I can't have it anymore. Where a piece of cheesecake may have 1,000 calories. And I don't know about you, but I could honestly probably have 4 or 5 pieces of cheesecake easily, and then give me 15 minutes and I'll probably be able to have more. This is the same for pastas. This is the same for pastries. So anything of that sort is designed to make you never stop eating it, because it doesn't have fiber, it doesn't have water, and it doesn't have the nutrients. So it doesn't give the same hormonal signal to your body to tell you, hey, you're satiated, you need to cut it out. So let's talk about a few more problems that happen with counting calories. And before we get into it, if you're still here, you're getting some value out of it, make sure to hit that subscribe and then the notification so you get notified every time a new video comes out. So one, if you focus on calories and calories alone, you are once again not focused on where that food comes from or how nutrient dense it is. And if you're still addicted to foods, your taste buds are hijacked. So you're focused on how to get your favorite foods that you're addicted to still within your calories. Remember this lady with Weight Watchers? That's exactly what she was doing. So that's going to backfire sooner or later. And then the second problem that arises from the problem above is that you're not changing your habits. You're not working on your emotions. You're not changing your thoughts that got you there in the first place. So you didn't gain weight for no reason. You gained it because there may be a void in your life. You're getting something out of that food that may be missing in your life. And I don't mean this in any judgmental way. Been there, done that. Both times I gained serious amount of weight in my life is when I was under a lot of stress and I was trying to fill a void. And another problem with counting calories is that would be saying that all calories are equal. Well, let's think about that for a minute. 500 calories from a cheesecake versus 500 calories from broccoli or spinach. We know that we're not the same. We know that our body reacts to those calories differently, which is once again why we have to address what we're eating and what we're focused on rather than just how much we're eating. And this is why I don't recommend counting calories. Now, if you're someone who's ready for change but need more guidance and you're like, Lex, I get it. I don't want to count calories, but I don't know where to go from here and I want to lose weight for good, I'll leave the link below if you want to book a call with me where we can discuss your next steps. Now that we discussed the calories and why it doesn't work to actually count them alone long term, let's talk about what you can do instead. Now, first, I'll say if you choose to count calories and you want to stick with that choice, I would say that the only way that this is going to work for you long term, provided that you don't have hormonal issues, sleep issues, high stress, and all of these things that we discussed, is if you use that to educate yourself on what you're eating, start looking at the ingredient lists and educating yourself on how you can make healthier choices while enjoying your food. And then start changing your relationship with food, your relationship with yourself, and your approach to weight loss in the first place. Once again, if you focus on health, a lot of things will fall in place. But for as long as you're addicted to food, you will not succeed long term. And sooner or later, you'll gain all that weight back. And again, I'm not saying this to be malicious. I'm saying this because I've seen this too many times to deny it. So here are the things that I've applied to lose weight and that are easily implemented in your lifestyle. 1, mindful eating. Sit down to eat, take 20 minutes to eat, put the fork down between each bite, really focus on the flavor of the food. Second thing you can do is add more fresh fruits and veggies. Wash them already and make sure they're easily accessible and easy to eat. Even if you get an orange and you think, oh, I need to peel that, you're less likely to eat it. So when you bring home fruits and veggies, wash them and cut them up already and make them ready as a snack and get away from unhealthy snacks in your house. Another thing you can do is start using smaller plates. That itself will make you put less on your plate. Please make sure to stay hydrated because oftentimes we are dehydrated and we really need proper hydration. Start reading labels and ingredients because they will really educate you on what's in the food you're eating, and you're automatically going to get educated on that and start looking for healthier choices of the same items. Cook more at home. I cannot stress this enough. It is important to start cooking more at home. Again, if you need ideas, check out my recipe book in the description. Never wait till you're starving. When we wait and we are starving and we sit down, we're not mindfully eating. We're just trying to inhale that food so we don't feel hungry anymore. This is even if you're fasting. And if you're interested in finding out how to fast as a woman, please make sure to check out my playlist. I have a lot of information on how to do it properly so you don't screw up your hormones and you actually do burn the body fat in a proper way. Slowly start adding one healthy, yummy recipe each week. That way you don't feel overwhelmed and you start cooking more at home. And always remember, whatever you're doing, make small changes. If you've been following me for a while, you know I talk about SCA. Small, consistent action is what really counts. So instead of counting calories, 1,200 calories, let's please not do that number. Instead of restricting yourself, instead of starving yourself, instead of dieting, once again, please start implementing very small changes that you can stick with long term. As you see, weight loss is about so much more than just counting calories. You could use it as a crutch for a period of time, although I always discourage people from doing so because it's about changing from within. Remember, everything begins with you working on you. And I've told you that I've gained weight a couple times in my life. And the last time that I gained 45 pounds, I've done it using the above strategies. If you want to hear my story and how I've done it, click here and watch now.